Hi class. In this video I'm going to be discussing through the social dances chapter. It's chapter 9. Um, so just to give you kind of an overview, the tips. First I will discuss some tips for teaching a class. That'll be in the first part of the chapter. And then I'll go into discussing about the different social dances throughout the chapter. There are several of them, and then at the end I'm going to attach a video, and it will be my sister and I demonstrating the waltz and the tango dance. Alright, so let's jump right in. I'm kind of just going to be looking at this and discussing it. So social dance is just what its name says it is. It's dance for society, dance for everyone. Social dance is very often characterized by having partners to do a particular style of dance. The dances I will be discussing in this video are that are in this chapter are the waltz, foxtrot, tango, merengue, salsa or mambo, rumba, and swing. Alright, so, and then here are kind of some like teaching tips when you teach students these dances. So the primary organizational patterns for beginning to teach these dances will be ones that are very familiar to us all. Some organizational patterns will be structured moves and lines, and then some learning patterns will promote movement in and through the spaces with turns and directional changes. This is always done first without partners and without musical accompaniment. So, like it mentioned here, it's important when teaching students dance to first teach them the movement, the pattern, and the steps before assigning them a partner or introducing music. It just makes it easier on the students to learn. After an acceptable level of success is attained by your students, then the appropriate music is added. So, like I said before, you can add music once the students become more comfortable with the steps. The next step is to learn to guard. To learn to guard a partner without musical accompaniment. To mirror the partner's movements as if she or he is actually in an offensive or defensive pattern. So this is kind of like, for example, like thinking of like defense. For example, like in basketball, when you're guarding someone who's dribbling the ball, if they go this way, you're going to move with them. You're going to mirror their movement, whichever way they go. Obviously, it won't be that aggressive, but in teaching dance, before the partners have contact, it's good for them just to work on mirroring each other's movements, and that's called guarding. Nothing is said about form, who partners with whom, and which foot to start with. In fact, everyone is expected to master the movements starting on either foot. So it's an important thing to teach your students when teaching dance, that they should be able to use, for example, their right foot just as well as their left. It's just a good thing to work on. Once your students are really into the social dance, then use all of the normal teaching formations. Lines facing, partners on circles, lines facing front, waves going the length of the room, and practice the basic steps of social dance forms. For any of the steps, a student is only required to know 4 basic movements: walking forward, walking backward, walking to the side, and doing rock steps either forward or backward. So when teaching students, it's important that they practice those 4 movements: walking forward, walking backward, to the side, and then rock stepping either forward or backward. And you can do it in lines facing, partners on circles, lines facing front, waves going the length of the room. So those are some different formations. A drill that is mentioned here, the author says, probably my favorite drill is a walking and turning drill without and with musical accompaniment. This involves walking forward and backward in the straight, curved, or zigzagging lines and adding half turns, full turns, and quarter turns turns to simulate dance movements. So those turns and those movements are just a good drill for the students to practice. And then it also discusses here how when students practice these drills that this is a good opportunity for the teacher to give the students feedback on things they can improve on or things they're doing well. Another important cue to teach your students when they're dancing, you can tell them to have their ankles and knees and thighs brush when they take their steps, and this keeps their legs from spreading out too much. So obviously when you're dancing, you don't want your legs to be too far apart, so teaching students to have their legs kind of brush slightly when taking steps is a good habit to teach them. Another tip is it says, keep your weight under your body for a good posture while practicing and dancing. This is just a good way to keep balance while dancing. The better one can mirror his or her partner, the better he or she will dance socially. Two additional cues to use with the walking and turning exercise are, first, to tell students to slightly flex the knees to absorb and smooth out the activity. Think of soft knees, just so that students aren't like stomping their feet. They're light on their feet, keeps them light on their feet. And then secondly, to make contact with the floor, it is important to teach moves that start off on either foot. Let me go back. To make contact with the floor with the feet moving just slightly above the floor. So this is the idea of when teaching students to take their steps in a dance, to kind of let their feet glide just above the floor so it almost looks like a sliding movement. So those are a couple tips, additional tips to teach students. It is important to teach moves that start off on either foot, but as your students progress, let them know that boys lead with the left foot and girls with the right foot just about all of the time. And later on you'll see, when my sister and I demonstrate the waltz and tango, you'll see that I lead with my left foot and she leads with her right. These drills provide, excuse me, sorry. Had an alarm go off. These drills provide a great opportunity to practice the heel-toe technique found in the waltz, foxtrot, and tango, and ball flat technique found in the merengue, rumba, salsa, and mambo, and swing. Each of the social forms that is included in this chapter will start with a short historical discussion. So as I go after this introduction part, I will discuss each of the dances mentioned in the social dancing chapter, and first I'll give like a brief historical context of each dance, and then discuss more of the specifics and the characteristics of that dance. I'm going to go into greater detail with the waltz, foxtrot, and tango, and then the ones after that, just for sake of time, I won't go into quite as much detail with. So we'll start out with the waltz. This dance is known as the queen of the ballroom and Latin dances today. It may be the most elegant of all dances performed today. It was the waltz that both revolutionized and scandalized dance in the 1700s. Moreover, dancers dance in very close proximity to one another, with the man's arm around the waist of his partner and in what really appeared to be an embrace. So as you'll see later with my sister and I, this dance, you're pretty close to the person that you're dancing with. This was a major change, as dancers previously danced mostly in lines and side by side. This type of behavior in public was strictly taboo at the time. It actually was so scandalous that it was banned as a dance from public ballrooms for many years. That seems kind of crazy to me, that dancing that seems pretty normal to me now used to be seen as taboo and was even banned for a little while. The roots of waltz go back to the Middle Ages in Europe. The current name finds finds its roots in the German word waltzen, which means to slide or glide. The graceful flowing aspects of the new waltz developed in Europe. The new waltz made its way to the United States with the first settlers, and the new waltz was danced from the East Coast to the West Coast as the settlers moved across the country, so it was pretty popular. The basic waltz steps can be found in the dances of almost every nation. When teaching waltz steps, teach strong heel and toe leads and down, up, down flow, typical to this dance. And one other thing it mentions is counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the count of the waltz, and you'll see that later with my sister and I. It's a 3-step, really kind of a 6-step dance. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that makes the basic box waltz, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. The basic box waltz, it's really the foundation of the waltz. This step starts the dance. It is a box formation that takes 6 counts to complete, like I mentioned before. Each half of the box requires 3 steps. I won't go into the specific explanation of the steps. And then these are some, once you get the basic box waltz down, they add in this chapter additions to the basic box waltz that people can do, or students can do, when they start to get a better handle on the basic box waltz. So there's the waltzing underarm turn, so it's just adding an underarm turn in there. There are waltz hesitations. For waltz hesitations, these steps are used for avoiding other dancers or for variation in the dance. So if you're in a busy ballroom dancing and there are lots of people dancing and you're doing the waltz, it's a very real possibility that you might bump into another couple. So learning how to hesitate in your waltz steps and then keep going would be a good thing to teach your students. There's the waltzing left box turn, the running waltz. This step provides the dancers with a very nice alternative to the basic box pattern. All right, now we're going to go to the foxtrot. One of the all-time great American dances popularized during the Roaring *20s is definitely the foxtrot. Its roots go all the way back to 1913 or 1914 about. Harry Fox, a band leader and dancer with the Ziegfeld Follies vaudevillian show, introduced this dance. And it's danced around the world and is probably one of the most frequently danced ballroom dances currently being performed. It was and is danced to slow and fast foxtrot rhythms, 120 to 140 beats per minute around the world, and it is always a favorite of the dances on the dance floor. Once the basic foxtrot rhythm is learned, it is much easier to move on to many other ballroom and Latin dance forms. When teaching foxtrot steps, teach strong heel and toe leads. Remember the teaching sequence: first working with no accompaniment or partner, then adding percussion or music, and then partners and no accompaniment, to finally putting it all together. And then here's a description of the forward basic foxtrot, and then they have the foxtrot promenade with an underarm turn, foxtrot ad lib, pivot turn, and left rock turn, foxtrot swing step, foxtrot quarter turns. So kind of like the waltz, you have the basic foxtrot, and then there is the promenade, the underarm turn, the more advanced steps to the dance. All right, so now on to the tango, which is the other dance my sister and I will demonstrate later in the video. Undoubtedly, the title for the most dramatic of the ballroom dances goes to the tango. It is believed to have originated in dances from Spain, Spain, France, and Argentina. So yeah, there's a Spanish version, there's a French version, and there's an Argentinian version. The dance attire for the dance reminds us of its early roots, with Western attire for the boys and thick ruffled skirts for the girls. The Argentinian version is the form of the tango that has had the most influence on the current version of the tango today. Today, thank goodness, the tango is taken for what it actually is, a very smooth, graceful, rhythmic form of dance that all can enjoy. Today, the tango is danced to both 2/4 and 4/4 meter music, and its basic step has evolved into a slow, quick, slow pattern. And my sister and I will show you that later, the slow, quick, slow pattern. It is a dance that all can learn and enjoy. So, and then it discusses the basic tango, which is the one my sister and I will show you. And then the promenade basic tango, tango court, tango promenade to fan. Alright, so the merengue, hopefully I'm saying that right. The merengue is a Dominican folkloric dance that is currently danced around the world. It is considered by many to be the Dominican Republic's national dance. It's an upbeat form of dance, form of social dance. The dance uses a step, close, or one-step pattern and is certainly the easiest of the Latin dances to learn. There's the merengue chasse to left and right, merengue forward and backward walk, merengue back breaks, merengue underarm turns. Once again, you're seeing the pattern. A lot of these dances, when you get a little bit more advanced, you can do underarm turns. And then now we are moving on to the salsa, or the mambo. Mambo is king of the Latin dances. Mambo is a combination of primarily American jazz and swing and Cuban rumba music. When teaching mambo or salsa steps, teach the ball flat technique. Stress that students must bend and straighten the knees to develop the hip movement known as the Cuban motion. There's the salsa or mambo basic. There's the side basic. There's the back and front breaks. The salsa or mamba underarm turns. All right, now for the rumba. This popular Cuban dance, which is probably considered Cuba's national dance, came to the United States in the early 1930s. The dance forms that influenced the current rumba included the slow-tempo native Cuban danzan, the bolero of Spain, the medium-tempo son, the fast-tempo guaracha, and a rural dance imitating barnyard animals. As with the other Latin dances, the ball flat technique for movement is typical of this dance, just like with this salsa and mambo. They mentioned using the ball flat technique. So there's the rumba basic box, rumba underarm turns, rumba back breaks, rumba walk, and rumba rocks. And now onto the swing. This is the last one we'll be discussing. Swing dance, as we know it today, takes many of its characteristics from the foxtrot, which preceded the development of the swing by several years. The music of the late 1920s and early 1930s went through some distinctive changes. Swing dancing is composed of a 6-count basic step but has many variations. When teaching swing steps, teach the ball flat technique, just like I had mentioned for the dances previous to this one. There's the basic swing, and then there's the swing underarm turns. And so that's all I will discuss for those dances. And in summary of Chapter 9 for social dancing, these basic steps for the social dances listed in this chapter hit only the tip of the iceberg for the moves that can be done. As always, the dancers will improvise and develop numerous modifications of these basic steps. So go forth and enjoy the world of social dancing. So like it said, yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The steps that are included in here, it can get a lot more advanced, but this is a great place to start. So that is Chapter 9, Social Dancing. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Samson with our Movement and Rhythms class, and this is my sister Scarlett. And in this video, we're going to be demonstrating the waltz and the tango. So we'll start with the waltz, and we'll start side by side before we come together and do it. And so the waltz is a 6-step dance, and we're going to count off as we go, starting with the left foot. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's us individually. Now we're going to come together. So the guy puts his left hand out, the girl puts her left hand on my shoulder, and I put my right hand on her shoulder blade, and I'm going to start leading with my left foot, and so she's going to step back with her right foot, and we're going to count off. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that is the waltz. And now we're going to show you the tango individually, side by side. And so this is a 5-step dance. And there's a slight change in tempo as you go throughout the 5 steps. It's a slow, slow, quick, quick, slow tempo. So we'll say that out loud as we go, starting with the left foot going forward. So it goes slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, 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 quick, quick, slow. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, 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 quick, quick, slow. So now we'll come together. This. And just like the waltz, the guy leads, stepping forward with the left foot, and so the girl will step backwards with her right foot. And we'll say out the tempo as we go. So slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow,